Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. It's that time again. We just had a couple of bans, so we're going to go over the winners and losers of each ban. This video is going to be about Magearna and how its removal from SSOU is going to improve the viability of some Pokemon and decrease the viability of other Pokemon. We're going to go ahead and look at what Pokemon Magearna may have done well against or deterred through various direct and indirect means, and also what Pokemon were needed or used more due to Magearna's presence in the metagame directly or indirectly. These Pokemon are also going to be looked at in a bit of context of, okay, now that Magearna is not in the metagame, how are they going to do against potential replacements, other Steel and other Fairy types, and why their matchups may improve. So it's a bit of a surface level thing, but also we're going to go dig deeper and really analyze what the trends may be. Of course, this is largely speculation, and if you guys would like to try these Pokemon out and test all these theories, I would really appreciate that. In fact, I'd love to hear all about your journey in the metagame and your thoughts on how the tier is with these bans. So please let me know down below in the comments. I'm really excited, and honestly, this is the most motivated I've been for the SS metagame since the drop of DLC 2, and I'm really hoping to use that to maybe have some more motivation to create content and go into depth with some more serious OU videos, as I've been using some more fun teams lately, if you will, and that's fine and well and all, but nah, let's grind, let's really achieve some fun stuff on the channel and show everyone what we could do. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the winners and losers of the Magearna ban and SSU metagame. So Magearna actually only really had a small handful of checks and counters in my eyes, so those Pokemon are naturally going to get worse as they're less needed, and that's why we only really have a small pool of losers. In fact, only really 3 or 4 of them did super well reliably against Magearna. But we have a lot of winners, a lot of Pokemon that, in my opinion, Magearna held back in some capacity. So let's go into those Pokemon first. I've separated out into the top 6 offensive and defensive / utility winners. So let's look at the offensive winners first. We got some pretty cool Pokemon. I got sample sets for each of them. I'm going to post them in the description down below so you guys can try them out yourselves on your own teams if you'd like. This is not a team, but this is 6 individual Pokemon that I believe will do better in a metagame without Magearna. So the first 4 of them are pretty much common sense. We're going to go through them one by one though. Tapulayla had both of its stabs resisted by Magearna and had no real way of hitting it super effectively. Focus Blast is going to do a lot of damage from Choice Specs if it's not an Assault Vest Magearna, but hitting that twice and locking into it is not the easiest feat whatsoever. Yes, it's true that despite the resist, Psychic Train boosted Psychic or Psyshock is still going to do a nice chunk to Magearna, but that alone is insufficient. That alone will not be enough to where you're going to be able to break through Magearna with just Tapulayla alone. And because of that, all of a sudden, the spam ability, which basically means the ability to come in and just mash your stab move of Tapulayla, was diminished greatly. It became more predictor line, it became more situational, it became more of a drawn-out Pokemon, and seeing that it has a very limited amount of survivability with the Choice Spec set, it takes every form of hazards and residual damage, coupled with the fact that it already has pretty low base physical bulk, 70 HP and 75 defense, left it really lacking the demolishing power that it once had, demolishing the sheer strength it had last generation. And in my eyes, Tapulayla's viability has dwindled away because of that. But now I think it's going to surge up, psychic surge up, if you will. Ah ha ha ha, I am so unfunny. Wow, I hate myself. In the metagame in the coming days and weeks. Psychic, Moonblast, Focus Blast, and Psyshock, of course, being the standard moves to utilize on the Choice Spec set. We go with both Psychic and Psyshock because Psychic is the more strong, spammable move, but you can run Psyshock, and if you face something like a Blissey or a Chansey, then you're going to be able to 2KO them potentially with that move. However, you can opt to run something like Thunderbolt, which is going to do more damage to random Celesteela, 2KO Skarmory and Corviknight as well, and you're also going to get some nice mid-grounds against Slowking cores that will come in handy for you more often than not in those matchups. Moving on beyond Tapulayla, which will undoubtedly be one of the stronger Pokemon in the metagame moving forward, we also have Alakazam, a similar Pokemon as it's a very fragile on the physical end, Psychic type with a lot of offensive power on the special side. However, the thing with Alakazam is it's a bit more polarizing than Lele. It doesn't have the secondary fairy typing, meaning it's even more reliant on Focus Blast to make progress in games, and in addition to that, it is much more fragile. 55-45 physical defense is definitely not something to be proud of, and the 95 special defense is hardly salvaging the 55 HP either, leaving everyone wondering if Alakazam will be bulky enough to retain any viability in the OU metagame. While it previously was able to thrive for periods of time in the DLC 1 metagame, that stint was pretty limited, and that was largely due to the fact it was quite reliant on Focus Blast, and people found it to be a less trustworthy option than you would like. But there is a lot of potential here. It's able to really diminish the viability of things like Toxapex, for example, and also set up on Pokemon like Slowbro if need be, especially if there was no Revenge Killer in sight. Moving beyond that, it's also worth noting that the thing with Alakazam is it's just slower than Tornadus T. It's quite a bit slower than Dragapult, Tapu Koko, Zero Aura, and all those Pokemon are soaring up in usage, especially with Cinderace gone as a form of speed control. And you kind of wonder if that's kind of going to be a counter trend, if you will. Almost as if it'll naturally suppress Alakazam's viability. And honestly, I wish that I knew what would happen. I wish I had all the answers, but unfortunately I don't. So that's up for you guys to decide. So try out Alakazam yourselves and let me know how it goes. The next Pokemon I think is going to be more of a clear-cut one, though. Finally, Multiscalar is going to get its chance to shine in the SSU metagame. After months of fringe viability, it finally will be without one of the Pokemon that absolutely blanked its 2 stabs, resisting both Hurricane and Fiery Wrath, while Tyranitar still resides within the confines of the SSU metagame, and Tapu Koko unfortunately is picking up in viability. Multiscalar's sheer strength might be enough to muscle past one of these Pokemon with a little bit of support, and that can go such a long way towards cementing Multiscalar as a viable option in the metagame, as it already has a nice 100 base special attack coupled with Mammoth special bulk and the ability Berserk, which is pretty impressive if you ask me, as it makes it quite strong, considering that it's already fast and very specially bulky with an impressive typing thanks to heavy duty boots. I'm quite optimistic about Multiscalar's future in the metagame, but I do have to admit that Tapu Koko and Tyranitar do make me worry about it moving forward, so we'll have to wait and see how that fares out. Moving forward beyond Multiscalar, some Pokemon that have previously seen success in OU that may very well pop up once more are going to be Latios, Kyurem, and Rillaboom, although you could argue Rillaboom didn't really have too large of a drop to begin with, but still. As for Latios, Pokemon that resisted one stab and was immune to another, forcing it to essentially lock into a non-stab, weak fire move in Mystical Fire, was definitely something that held it back. Now I think Latios will return to form when it comes to dropping Dracos in the SSOU metagame. Admittedly, it is a bit limited in what it can do, as there are still plenty of Pokemon able to resist the Psychic plus Dragon combination, especially due to the abundance of Steel types that are common right now. But with Aura Sphere now being the coverage move of choice, coupled with the fact that it has Trick to cripple things and can run other sets as well if need be, I think there is some potential there for Latios, and I'm really excited to see what will fare in a metagame. Especially with Pursuit not being present, I think it might finally be time for Latios to rise and shine as one of the upcoming stars of the SSOU metagame. Kyurem is a bit different. Kyurem we actually saw a lot more of in the last week or two, at least in my experience and also in the recent games of the Smagearna Premier League. We saw more and more Kyurem, be it the Spec set or the Sub-Root set, and even a couple sightings of the Dragon Dance set. And I think that all in all, this Kyurem is going to see even more usage moving forward. Not only is Magearna being gone, make it so that there's one less ice resistant metagame, especially a durable one at that, but also that's another Dragon immunity gone, and, which we'll cover in a later video, Cinderace is also gone, which is pretty important for it, as that was a fast, soft check to ice moves as well that was able to one-shot it with high jump kick if it carried it. All in all, I believe that Specs Kyurem will be support-reliant but very effective in the metagame, and in addition to that, I believe that Sub-Roost Kyurem will also retain some viability. While we may see more specially defensive Clefable, which we'll get to in a little bit or at another time, I do firmly believe that we're going to also see ways for Kyurem to circumvent that through team support, knocking it off or paralyzing it, or potentially maximizing opportunities for Ice Beam or Freeze Dry to get a freeze against it, especially considering that Ice Beam from Choice Specs variant is capable of landing a 2-hit KO on Clefable regardless of investment after just a little bit of chip, if it's not at full, depending on the spread. So that's pretty impressive in and of itself. Moving forward though, there's also Rillaboom. Rillaboom is a very promising option in the SSU metagame, and it always has been, but now with Magearna gone, and again, we'll discuss in a later video, Cinderace being gone as well, those are two Pokemon that were able to resist Grassy Glide, and Magearna was quite a durable one at that are now gone. Also, you don't need to run high horsepower on Swords Dance sets as much anymore. All in all, the metagame is wide open for Rillaboom to reign, be it with Swords Dance plus Life Orb, Choice Band, or potential other sets as well. And I do believe that bulky grass types like Tangrowth may see a bit more usage as Magearna is no longer there to pressure it, but again, we cannot predict counter trends, if you will, we can only really look directly in front of us right now, and that's what I'm saying. Try these Pokemon out for yourself. Report your findings. Let me know how it goes. I think Rillaboom might be great, but it might just be good or okay, so we'll have to wait and see. However, these are not the only Pokemon that are going to thrive with the absence of Magearna in the metagame. Quite on the contrary, actually. These are more offensively oriented winners. However, there is some utility and even defensive Pokemon that are also going to benefit from Magearna being gone, be it due to these Pokemon outright losing to Magearna, or competitors to these Pokemon being better due to their better matchup against Magearna, thus leaving these Pokemon in the dark. Regardless of the reasoning, we're going to go through these Pokemon now. Tornadus Therian is the first one, and the utility set benefits from a couple things here. First and foremost, you can actually run more bulk on it, as you don't have to outrun Cinderace anymore. You can probably go pretty slow on it, all honesty. I don't see a reason to really be anywhere between 352 and 375 besides speed ties with other Tornadus T and the rare Starmie sighting, which I don't think we're going to be seeing anytime soon. So because of that, you can actually just run 168 speed plus, and then you can run a pretty nice bulky defog pivot set with heavy duty boost and regenerator that's quite hard to get rid of. With Magearna not being present, that's one less thing to abuse the coverage this set has of Hurricane plus Knockoff plus U-Turn, and that is definitely a huge positive for Tornadus T, putting a bit less pressure on it and hopefully giving it more room to thrive in the metagame. Next off is Clefable. Unfortunately, the Pink Demon is going to be back, and definitely a bit better with Magearna and Cinderace being banned in the metagame. While thankfully we do have an abundance of Pokemon that could slow it down, be it Pokemon such as Heatran, Nidoking, and Kartana, and Melmetal that are newer to the metagame, and Slowking Galar as well, or Pokemon that have been around for a little bit. Things like Excadrill, things like Volcarona, yeah, and Toxapex. So we'll have to wait and see how that fares. I definitely think Clefable is going to rise closer back to the top of usage statistics, but I think it'll definitely be manageable. It certainly won't be reaching its old peak, so that is always reassuring. You can see common mindsets, of course, Stealth Rock, Trick, etc. There are a whole plethora of sets you could use, so that'll be interesting to see as well. Mandibuzz is going to rise back as a defogger, while Spectre metagame had it as one of the fixtures of the metagame. It dropped a bit after Spectre's ban. Now it's back in business with Magearna, one of the main oppressors of Mandibuzz, being removed from the tier. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. But most of these, keep in mind, are kind of simple cause and effect relationships. Like, oh, this Pokemon lost to Magearna a lot, therefore it'll probably be used more with Magearna being gone. There's no definitive proof of that. Mandibuzz is more used upon need as opposed to just, oh, I want to use Mandibuzz. Like, oh, my team needs Mandibuzz because it's weak to X, Y, and Z. Mandibuzz checks X, Y, and Z. So, again, it's really going to depend on other trends, potential counter trends, more so than just Mandibuzz itself. Slowbro and Como-O are two physical walls that definitely did not want to withstand the abundance of strong special attacks that Magearna had to throw at it. And finally, Tyranitar is unfortunately a special wall that did not take the special attacks of Magearna particularly well, and also the Sand Archetype in general is pretty solid right now in my opinion. So I think that'll pick up a bit more. Maybe Hippo will drop a little bit, as Hippo is a Voltamune, and Voltamunes are important against Magearna, so that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, let me know what you think of these Pokemon, if you try and integrate them onto your teams or not. Finally, we're going to move on and transition to the losers in the SSOU metagame, the Pokemon that probably did pretty well against Magearna, or at least benefited from its presence in the metagame in terms of sheer usage, but now without it being in the tier are probably going to drop a bit in usage or viability. These Pokemon are Slowking Galar, Heatran, Toxapex, Blissey, Volcarona, and Nidoking. I'm not including sets of them because this kind of implies that they're going to be used less, so I'd rather you try the other options, but if you want to, the standard sets of Assault Vest on Slowking Galar, which you can find imports of everywhere, anything goes in Heatran, standard. They're not really the most versatile Pokemon besides Volcarona, arguably, which can run a number of Coverdance sets. But all these Pokemon did pretty well against Magearna. Assault Vest Slowking Galar was able to wall choice specs better than anything else, even not minding taking a trick, as that would leave the restart. That would leave the Magearna with an Assault Vest and it with stronger attacks, so that would kind of be a decent trade-off. Heatran didn't love getting tricked or eating fighting moves, but otherwise was a very reliable answer to Magearna as well. Toxapex, especially defensive set, was able to haze off potential setup opportunities while also contributing to the stopping of the Choice Spec set by forcing it to Volt Switch and really minimizing the amount of room it had to thrive in that situation. Blissey was a great special wall. While it didn't love taking the super boosted attacks from it, if that ever came into play, it was able to stomach anything from the spec set besides 2 Focus Blasts. It didn't like taking a trick though, that was a big problem for it, so you have to be careful there, but Blissey was definitely a soft trick too. Finally, Volcarona and Nidoking, Pokemon that would be able to really tank the stabs pretty decently, barring Specs, Flash Cannon, and Nidoking. Admittedly, Volcarona was better off in this role with Roost, and Nidoking was more of a one-time switch-in, but both these Pokemon did well against Magearna at least, and it will be sad to see their viability drop a little bit with it being removed from the metagame. Overall, what do you guys think about the potential viability of all of these Pokemon in a Magearna-less metagame. Do you think this is accurate, or do you think it's inaccurate? What Pokemon do you believe are going to get better that I didn't list, or worse that I didn't list? And in addition to that, do you guys think that Magearna's ban was for the best of the metagame? Let me know all of this and any other thoughts you have down below in the comments, and I'm really excited to hear from you guys and see the metagame progress in the coming days and weeks. And if you guys enjoy this content and want to see more, it would really mean a lot to me if you guys could hit that subscribe button. Only 35 to 40% of the viewers of these videos on a consistent basis are subscribed, and we just hit 6,000 subscribers, so if we could get up to 7,000 or 8,000 soon, that would mean a lot to me. Helping this channel grow would be one of my ultimate goals, and thank you so much for all of the support. In addition, if you want to be in touch, check out my Twitter or my Discord, the links will be down below, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much, and stay safe. Okay, bye guys, talk to you again soon.